Hello boys and girls, and welcome to lesson 2-2, so chapter 2, lesson 2 on page 55 of your textbooks. We're going to be learning in this lesson how to add integers. And the way you add integers, you can also subtract later on, but you'll find that out soon. So specifically, we're going to add two integers, and then later on we're going to add more than two integers. Now, adding integers meaning we might add positive with negative numbers, negative with negatives, or positive with positives. Okay, as you can see here, here's an idea of how to add integers. Let's say you have -1. Let me zoom that in, okay? And plus -5. The way I've always seen this is that let's pretend I have a credit card. So like you may have a MasterCard, a Visa, an American Express, or a Discovery card. Those are all credit cards. Now, with credit cards, boys and girls, the money is not yours. This money is borrowed. So if I use my Visa and I use $1 out of my Visa, I am -$1. Now I owe $1 to my Visa company, or to the Visa company. And then I go to another store, and that could be the plus sign, and then I go to another store and I use another $5. That means my credit is now, I used $1 and then I used $5. That means I'm -$6. That means I owe my Visa company $6. Okay? That's one way I've always looked at it, and it helps. Now, the way that the book is showing us as well is by using a number line, where we have 0 and we have positive integers and negative integers. And here we have -1, so we've moved -1. And we move another -5. We count another -5. When you add it all together, you finish at -6, which is your answer. That's another way to look at it, by using a number line. Let's try 1A, B, and C. So 1A, I have -3, and then I have another -4. When you put them together, you're going to have -7, right? Continuing on, we have -6, and then another -14. Okay, so first you move -6 on the number line, and then -14. So you should have -20, right? Like I was explaining earlier, I owe $6 and then I owe another $14. How much money do I owe in total? What's my negative balance? -20. And then here we have -7 and -2. As most of you have figured it out already, we have -9. Our little friend used to have a crush on Anthony, and I think now she's thinking more about somebody else. That's a key answer. Okay, continuing on page 56, we have another example where we have -3 and then -6. I know that most of you guys already know that this is -9, but here you're given another example on how to use it. For example, they're saying that absolute -3 and absolute -6 is going to give you an absolute value of 9. But because you know you're finding the sum of negative numbers, the number is going to be negative. Now, this might be get a little confusing because we're not looking for absolute value, okay? We're looking for the true value, which is -9. But let's keep with the same concept that we used in example 1. So let's find each sum. We have -8, okay, and -2. Okay, you spent $8 on your credit card, and then you spend another $2 on your credit card. What is your balance on your credit card now? Okay, if you say -10, you are correct. Okay, and number 2B, you have -1, right? And then plus another -12. What will be your balance? If you're thinking -13, you are correct. Now, boys and girls, if you're not getting these correct, please make sure to come and see me in class so that I can, or if you're not understanding how we're getting this answer, I can explain it to you in different ways. There was a technique that we learned in 5th grade, and I do have a couple of other techniques we could use. But so far, I think these are pretty standard. Okay, so make sure that you put a star right there as we continue on. Let's go to example 3. For example 3, we're going to use the number line as well again. But now this time we are working, as you can see right here, with positive and negative. Okay, so we're really looking for the difference of values between the -3 and the +6. Really, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a difference between, what is the difference between these two values? Okay, now What I mean by that is I'm not asking you for the absolute value, because the difference, or I'm not asking you for the range, because the range here is 9 numbers, right? To go from -3 to -6 to +6, you have to jump 9 units, but I'm not asking for that. I'm asking you for the difference. So you could do it like this. You could take this negative and put it there, and now you have 6 minus 3, right? That would be 3, your total. Now, by using the number line, okay, we know that we go back -3, 1, 2, 3, and then we go forward. We go to on the +6. So now we have to count the other way: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What do I have left over? 3. Okay, let's try B. Okay, so we have 1. We start at 0, so we count 1. Then we have -4 plus -4. Now, boys and girls, I've taught some of you a different way to do this as well. Yeah, this could be that you have an extra $1, right? And then you spent $4, right? So really, you owe -3. But another way to do this, boys and girls, is that you know that whenever you have parentheses, that means multiplication. So if you multiply a positive times a negative, you can multiply these symbols. You know that a positive times a negative always means a negative, right? So whatever this is will become negative, right? So you have 1 minus 4, which equals -3. You could also just use the number line and say I first went up by 1 and now I'm going down by -4, and you'll see that you end at -3. Okay, let's try 3A and 3B. You have 5 plus -2. You could multiply these two symbols so that a positive times a negative is always a negative, so you have 5 minus 2. You could do it like that, right? Or you could do where you move on the number line up 5 and then back 2, right? Or just 5, you have $5 and then you spent 2. You can also think of it like that. So what would be your answer? If you think it's 3, you are correct. Okay, continuing here. I have +4 and then I spent 8. I spent more than I had, so clearly I probably used my credit card. What is my balance on my credit card? Well, you could also use the number line where you go up by 4 numbers, but then you have to count down towards the negative by 8 numbers. How far are you going to get into the negative? -4. Okay? If this is not making sense, come and see me after school. Remember, take charge of your learning. I only know so much by testing you, but sometimes by the time I test you, it's too late. So come and see me if this is not making sense. Okay, example 4 is very much the same, boys and girls. We continue on by having a +12, and then we take away 6 from it. Okay? When we take away 6 from 12, we have 6. Okay? We have -7 on the credit card. I owe the credit card $7, but then I put $5 into it. Now I only owe the credit card $2. Now my balance is only -2. Okay? Let's try 4A and B. Okay, for 4A and B we have -20 plus 4. I'm all the way down in -20. I owe that credit card company $20. I'm -20 is my balance. But then I decide to pay $4 from it. How much do I still owe them? If you're thinking -16, you are correct. Okay? 4B. I have $16 plus, but then I go to the store and I spent 5 of it. What do I have left? If you're thinking -11, you are correct. Okay, this is where we start to get into the word problems, the real life connection of integers, adding integers. A scuba diver, let's call her Christina, or Titi for short. Well, she's diving 120 feet below the water surface. Now, let's just say the water surface is right here. Well, our water surface is 0 feet. I'm sure you've heard the expression when we talk about levels, we always say that we live about 400 feet above sea level or below sea level. So the sea level is where we start to count from 0. So below sea level we have negative numbers, and above sea level we have positive numbers in height. Okay, so right here the scuba diver, or Titi, is 120 feet below the water's surface. So all the way down there is 120 feet. So 120 feet below. But below means less, negative. So we have to make sure we make note of those words. So it's at -120, right? Let's continue to read. She then ascends. Ascends means to go up. Okay, to go up. She then ascends 83 feet. So then what happens here? What would be our equation if she's ascending by 83 feet? If you're thinking, then she adds 83, a positive 83, because to ascend means to go up, it's a positive. You are correct. And then she stops. She has to do one of those safety checks on the way up. She can't go up too fast. Then where does she stop? If you're saying she stops at negative 37 feet, you are correct. Now this is your equation. You've taken all of the words, okay, and put it into an algebraic expression, or we can say into computation, numbers, okay, a number sentence. But what is her current depth? There it is. Write an addition equation and solve. There's our addition equation, okay, and interpret the sum. Now, this is not our answer. Our answer has to be a therefore statement. So we answer the question. What is her current depth? Well, TT's current depth is negative 37 feet. Sorry, you can't see that. There we go. Negative 37 feet. Or we say 37 feet below sea level. For your key answer, you can draw our scuba diver or the smiley face. Okay, something I really want to make note of is this additive inverse property. Okay, the integers negative 4 and positive 4 are opposites, same as negative 2 and positive 2, or negative 3 and 3. They're opposites. We learned that in the last lesson. Opposites have the same absolute value, meaning they are the same distance in opposite directions from 0. But they have the different signs, obviously, negative and no sign, or positive. An integer and its opposite are called additive inverses. If you're ever working with the additive inverses, you're always going to have 0. Look at this. We have 2 plus negative 2, okay? It's going to be 0 when you're adding them, okay? Only when you're adding them. So you can have, with symbols or variables, you can have a plus negative a. It's also going to be 0. It's important to know that they bring you right back to 0. So the additive inverse property is useful when adding integers. Make note of this, please. Ask if you are unclear. Okay, I think you guys are ready for a challenge. Now we have more than 2 numbers, okay? Now we have 3 values here. We have 4, and then negative 2, and then negative 7. Okay, so let's see. We start off with 4. So we start off on the 0, and we go 4 in this direction. But then we take away 2 in this direction, and then we take another 7 in this direction, okay? So that would be one way to do it, using a number line. Got it? But we can also do it using the concept of the credit card. Okay, I have $4. You see there, I have $4. Then I subtract 2, I spent 2. Great, I still have $2 left, don't I? Okay, but then I spend another 7 with my 2 left. So, that means I have to use from my credit card. So I owe my credit card $5. I have a negative balance of $5. Okay, let's try 6B. I have negative 10, so I owe $10. I'm in the hole by 10. Then I pay off 3, so that brings me up to negative 7. But now I spend another negative 7, so I'm down to negative 14. And then I decide, from that negative 14, I decide to pay off 12. So my balance left would be negative 2. Okay? Go ahead and try C and D on your own. Okay, I'd like to see your answers. Okay, when we get to class. And again, let's put a little key answer right in the middle, right here. You can put a star right between those two. But please, I would like to see your answers for those 2. Okay? Don't do the guided practice at home. Leave that for a warm-up in class. We will do it together just to freshen up the memory. Go ahead and jump straight to the independent practice. Okay, independent practice on page 58 and the independent practice on the top of 59. Leave the hot questions for class as well so that we can do a guided exercise. See you in class.